Thank you all for coming. I am Bonnie Jean Sherbert. I am the governor for the South Carolina Optimist District, and I want to welcome you to our 2020 District Oratorical. I'd like to introduce our Oratorical Scholarship Chair, Lonnie Harvey.
Thank you, Bonnie. And Bonnie said she's the governor, but she's also the brains of this outfit. So it would not come together as smoothly as it does without her. And I know that I have a timekeeper down there who will testify to that with me. But I too would like to welcome you to the South Carolina District Optimist Oratorial Contest. We have 8 contestants who will be speaking. They will all be speaking on the same topic, and that is Imagine a World Without Optimism. And they will give you the title. There will not be an opportunity to applause after each one. You will remain muted throughout the process. At the end, we will introduce each of the contestants and give you an opportunity to give them some applause or greetings, whatever we can do in this system. It's much different than what we are accustomed to. As you probably all have experienced in your day-to-day lives, and particularly in your work lives, this is the first time for us doing this by way of Zoom. Typically, at this point, we would be at the Sumner Opera House doing with the contestants, and it holds a few thousand people. So it's going to be a little different, but it should be a wonderful experience for the contestants, because their future will include a lot of these sort of presentations. So without further ado, let me introduce you to contestant A.
Imagine a world without boundaries. When I think of a world without boundaries, I think of the Wizard of Oz. You know, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. When you think of somewhere over the rainbow, you might think of a place with friends, family, or maybe even a world without boundaries. When I was in the 6th grade, I thought of a world without boundaries quite frequently. And on Halloween that year, I had built up enough strength and courage to attempt to defy the boundaries built up around me. That year, I chose to be Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. My mom braided my hair into 2 braids. I put on my dress and red sparkly shoes and headed off to school. But when I got there, I began to doubt my costume and hurriedly ran to the bathroom to change. I changed because I thought the kids at school would think I couldn't be Dorothy since I'm not white, and the Dorothy they know, played by Judy Garland, is white, not black. Racial boundaries have existed in the United States since its discovery and have sadly continued on to the present day. To explore racial boundaries, let's first begin to use our brains with Scarecrow as we identify an example of racial boundaries. Next, let's use our hearts with Tin Man as we explore an example of racial boundaries. And finally, let's find our courage with Cowardly Lion as we begin to envision a world without racial boundaries. Now that we have Scarecrow, let's take a look at what racial boundaries are. Racial boundaries are dividing lines that separate a group of people from having access to things due to their race or ethnicity. Racial profiling is an example of racial boundaries that happens in the United States daily. The National Center for Biotechnology Information found that 58% of African Americans reported racial reasons for their daily mistreatment. And while some are hopeful that change will come, Pew Research Center found that 42% of African Americans are doubtful that the changes needed to create full equality will ever actually happen. Now, as we begin to skip down the yellow brick road with Tin Man, let's use our hearts to identify an example of racial boundaries. In an article titled How the Camera Sees Color by the National Museum of African American History and Culture, they take a look at African American representation in television and film and how it affects African American viewers. The article states that African Americans with lighter skin would be given the leading roles, while African Americans with darker skin would be given the stereotypical roles. Through the 1910s and 1950s, race movies rise in popularity. Race movies made it their goal to give Black actors and actresses leading roles that Black viewers could relate to and appreciate. Movies like Black Panther, Selma, and Love and Basketball are all great examples of African American movies that are still popular to this day. Now, let's finally find our courage with Cowardly Lion as we begin to envision a world without racial boundaries. A world without racial boundaries would be a world where everyone could be themselves. A world where race wouldn't have a negative reputation with police, education, or entertainment. A world where racism would be a thing of the past and terrorism and hate crimes would be non-existent. A world where I could be Dorothy, where anyone could be Dorothy. Now that we've used our brains with Scarecrow, used our hearts with Tin Man, and found our courage with Cowardly Lion, we can finally begin to make this vision of a world without racial boundaries a reality. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, so can I. Thank you.
Okay. All righty, thank you. We will now give our judges time to tally their scores, and we'll have a background on the Optimist history from our governor, Bonnie Jean Sherbert.
So while our judges are tallying their scores, I do want to remind you that you can switch to speaker view. We are recording in speaker view, meaning whoever is speaking will appear on your screen. So you can do that up at the top of your screen. You can toggle between gallery view, seeing everyone, and speaker view. But to tell you a little bit about the Optimist organization, by providing hope and positive vision, Optimists bring out the best in our youth, our communities, and ourselves. More than 2,600 Optimist clubs around the world volunteer to give back to their communities. Our upbeat outlook and our commitment to creating a more optimistic future for kids is what differentiates Optimist clubs from any other volunteer organization. From sponsoring youth athletics to weatherizing the homes of the elderly to conducting oratorical and essay contests for young people, Optimist clubs are responding to the various needs of the communities they serve. Although we come from all walks of life, Optimist members share one common trait. We know that we can make a difference in the lives of others. There are 24 Optimist clubs in South Carolina, separated into 3 zones: the upstate, the Midlands, and the beach. Some of these clubs have been around for more than 70 years, while others are just a couple years old. No matter the age of the club, each club works to support the youth of South Carolina. I'm honored to serve these amazing Optimists as the 2019-2020 governor for the South Carolina Optimist District. I'll turn it back over to you, Lonnie, if you are ready. I have to unmute you. There you go. Lonnie?
Yes. Okay, we have a judge who is still tallying. Jennifer? Okay. All righty. All righty. It is my pleasure to introduce you to contestant B.
Contestant B, if you will go ahead and give us a sound and video check.
Check, check.
All right, go ahead and begin.
As we venture through life, an optimistic outlook encourages imagining a world without boundaries. Instead of comparing reality to our dreams, we have to live like reality is the dream. Seeing the silver lining is one thing, but training our minds to see the rainbow after a storm is the goal. Our environment and the people that nurture us as we grow significantly affect the way we think for the rest of our lives. As someone who grew up enclosed by pessimists, I was a contradiction. Who we decide to spend our time with plays a monumental role in how we think and where we end up. Many individuals take the wrong turn by involving themselves in drugs and toxic relationships. Growing up in an abusive household, I saw the people I loved suffering from pain each and every day. I couldn't stop the tears from falling down my mom's face, but I became optimistic that there was a world in which I could help others. Whether it was curing a pet and in return bringing a smile to their owner's face, or rescuing an animal from the sea, I wanted to bring people the optimism they were missing in their lives. My own father told me for so long that these dreams were just, I'm so sorry. My own father told me for so long that these were just pipe dreams, but that no longer slows me down. The negativity which fueled my life every day became the engine that I used to drive myself closer to achieving indescribable goals. With this newfound determination, I reached heights that I did not think were realistically possible. Even though people have put me down, I am so hopeful of becoming part of a world where there is no boundaries to stop someone from investing in their passion. In our modern day, these obstacles are countless. From economic to racial to sexual, classes are enforced into our society. The organization Pride at Work details staggering statistics of the LGBT community facing workplace discrimination, grounded on the fact that there is no law prohibiting firing or denying basic rights to someone based on their identified sexuality. It's hard to find the optimism in reading that 59% of transgender respondents avoided using a public restroom in the last year, and nearly 1/3 of them limited what they ate and drank to do so. People around the world are still fighting for their colored rights, women's rights, and your basic human rights. Parts of our society are still finding themselves offended by the statement, Black Lives Matter. What if this weren't the case? What vision could we have for our world today? A true world without boundaries is one that none of us have yet to live or experience. This is why it is up to the individual, each and every one of us, to believe in limitless opportunities. There is nothing holding us back except ourselves. Fear is a liar and a manipulator. I can't even count on both hands the number of opportunities that I have missed out on because of that unpleasant emotion. I listened to that voice in my head, some days even telling me that because I was a female, I needed to stay quiet and do what was expected of me. Now I'm ashamed of what I have lost or damaged because I took on such a negative mindset. I let boundaries restrict my mind and imagination.
I willingly was not living my life to its fullest potential because I was scared. I held myself back. Going forward, I will be opening my mind up to the things that can be achieved when you don't let your thoughts restrict your actions. I encourage you to join me by doing the same. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we will move over and the judges will tally their scores. And as they do that, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Charles Z. Robinson, who will be speaking to you about membership.
Thank you, Lonnie. I'd like to share with you some important points about the importance of membership. Being an Optimist member enables you to fulfill our mantra. We provide hope and positive vision to bring out the best in our youth, community, ourselves, and humanity. Our vision statement: we help make dreams come true through the giving of ourselves in service to help the world become a better place to live, learn, teach, serve, and enjoy. And 4 immediate benefits derived from being an Optimist: 1, gratitude and emotional connection while being engaged with your club, community, zone, district, region, and Optimist International. 2, productivity, working smart to common goals, team spirit, and impact on community life. Ethical behavior, number 3. Optimist branding, community pride, as we are known for bringing out the best in everything. Number 4, pride, satisfaction and sense of purpose and achievement, working cohesively, having synergy wherein the team accomplishes much more than one could possibly alone. Now, 5th and lasting benefit derived from is to leave a legacy by becoming a friend of ours. Such projects as It Takes a Village Scholarship and Awards Program. It features Optimist International programs as Essay, Oratorical Contest, and the PACE Scholarship, as well as the YES program, Youth Empowerment Service. This is found at the successfoundation.org. Whereas we invest in the leadership of tomorrow, as well as the new faith project that we have called the 2020 Faith Build Community Service Project. And with it, we engage with Habitat for Humanity. Our final program is called the NOW program, New Optimists Welcome. And through the NOW program, we invite you to join us in growing and building our Optimist organization as we host the South Carolina Optimist District 4th Quarter Convention. It'll be in the city of Rock Hill, South Carolina, and it's nationally recognized for the 2nd time as an all-American city. And this will be on September the 25th through the 27th. So we as Optimists are 2020 trailblazers, and we are meeting the challenges of today as we've learned lessons from the souls. But too many days of our lives have been spent on the edge of night. It's time for us to act young and restless in our search for tomorrow. For as the world turns, we clearly have but one life to live. And with it, we must be the guiding light in the struggle to build a better world, another world, for us and for all God's children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, and as I look at our judges, I see that everybody's ready. I think so. All right, thank you, Charles. Charles is a former twice governor. Am I right? Is it twice or is it 3 times? I'm all right? Okay. I think I am. All right. Oh, he is also a member of the Central City Optimists here in Rock Hill. It is my pleasure to introduce you to contestant C.
Contestant C, can you give us a sound and video check, please?
Contestant C, testing audio and video.
Very good. Thank you.
Just imagine a world without boundaries. Now, this wasn't easy. What does it mean? I asked my teacher, and she said that it was however I interpreted it. Well, I interpret it like this.
I think we lost sound. Contestant C, we lost sound. Can you test again, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. You're frozen. Wait.
If you would, contestant C, and judges, if we'll start the time over for that technical glitch. So we will begin again when you're ready, contestant C, with your topic.
Just imagine a world without boundaries. Now, this wasn't easy. What does it mean? I didn't know, so I went and asked my teacher, and her exact words to me were, "It's however you interpret it." Well, if you haven't noticed it by now, I'm just a country boy. Most of my younger life was spent on my grandparents' farm. It was a place that was familiar and uncomplicated. Now, I'm not one for complex sentences and fancy words. No, I like the country boy way of things. A way of keeping things simple. So here's this country boy's interpretation of imagining a world without boundaries. About 1.5 years ago, we adopted a sick little puppy. He weighed 4 pounds and wasn't expected to make it through the night. Oh, but he made it, and the vet estimated that he grew to be about 25 to 30 pounds. Well, 75 pounds later, we had us a dog. His name is Bull, and that's short for bulldozer. He's 75 pounds, so you can only imagine why. When he wags his tail, his whole body moves. Now, I had high hopes of him becoming a valuable hunting dog, so I set out to teach him to call. Like, "Oh, speak to me." But come to find out, he isn't cut for it. And the only thing that he's hunting for is him a girlfriend. Every time that door cracks open just a little bit, he leaps off the front porch, out of the yard, and down the road. We have to get in the car and follow after him for miles before we can get him to stop. But what he doesn't know is the only other dog in our neck of the woods is one mean, vicious, red-eyed, man-eating male Yorkie. Now, my dad got pretty tired of having to chase him down, so he bought him a shot collar. The lowest setting did nothing at all, and down the road he went. My dad increased it to the second setting, and that ruffled the fur on his neck just a little bit, but down the road he went. But when my dad increased it to that third setting, Shazam, did that knock before a flip. He came back to the house just a yelping and whining, and after that shot, his entire personality changed. He'd look at you with sad, fearful eyes, his head pointed towards the ground, and his tail tucked between his legs. But worst of all, he didn't wag his tail anymore. He even hesitated to go off the front porch. Now, this same type of thing happens to us. We are born with invisible shock collars wrapped around our neck, boundaries placed on us by our race, religion, gender, or economic status. Now, like the lowest setting to some people, that has no effect at all, and they keep on running. Now, maybe it's up to the second setting by our ability to learn differently or limited resources, and that may ruffle the fur on our neck just a little bit, but they keep on running. But sometimes life itself increases it to the third setting, and it shocks us so hard that it knocks us for a flip. Life has a way of sticking its finger in our face and telling us we just aren't good enough. We aren't smart enough, athletic enough, pretty enough, popular enough. It has us telling ourselves that we can't do it or we can't achieve it. We become scared and shy away from goals or situations that normally we would run towards. We tuck our tails and give up and change and stop being us. And who we are and who we are meant to be is changed by the boundaries placed on us or that we have placed on ourselves. But it's not about how hard you get shot. Nope, it's about how hard you get shot and keep on running. So imagining a world without boundaries truly is however you interpret it. If you know that you are worth it, then go out and get it. Otherwise, you are stuck on the porch. Now, we didn't like what that shot caller did to Bull, so we took it off. And now the slightest crack in the door, and he's down the road hunting for that girlfriend. Imagining a world without boundaries means that our options are limitless, but we have to keep on running. Now, there are people who dedicate their whole lives in helping us take our shot callers off too. There are loved ones who support us throughout the deepest, darkest parts of our lives. They are our teachers, principals, and counselors who help us keep on running towards that diploma, college degree, or job opportunity. And if resources are a problem, they direct us to tutors, programs, or scholarships. They are our mentors, the religious leaders, who help us keep on running towards that eternal peace we all long for, regardless of our religion. And then sometimes the people we call our friends. They're there to lend a shoulder for us to cry on and encourage us through our deepest, darkest struggles. So you ask this country boy to imagine a world without boundaries. Now, many people stop at the sky because they think it's their limit, but it's not. For an optimist, we see an entire universe, so I'm going to keep on running. Thank you.
And with that, the judges will start the scoring process. And we will hear a little bit about the Oratorical program history from our governor, Bonnie Jean.
Thank you, Lonnie. The Optimist Oratorical Contest was first held in 1928. It continues to grow and expand until several years ago, with the help of the Optimist International Foundation, it was transformed into an international championship. Kids from all over the world compete for the title of Optimist International Champion. Just 2 years ago, a student named Caleb Smith from Charleston, South Carolina, won the title. He even returned as a judge for last year's competition. The students here today have already competed at the club and zone level. Some of the club contests were held in person before the COVID-19 quarantine began. And as optimists, we quickly regrouped and reimagined the contest for the digital world. And the remaining club contests were held via Zoom. Our zone contests were also held via Zoom, just like our district competition today. $5,000 in college scholarships will be awarded today. The third place winner will receive $1,000. The second place winner will receive $1,500, and the first place winner will receive $2,500 in scholarships, and also will advance to the regional and international competition on July 16th, which will also be held via Zoom. An additional $5,000 will be awarded to the winner of the Southeast Region contest. Each regional winner will then compete for an additional $5,000, $10,000, and $15,000 in scholarship money for a total of $22,500 for the first place winner. This is a great opportunity for the kids here today. Thank you, Lonnie.
And we have all our judges who are finished. Okay, complete their task. It's my pleasure to introduce you contestant D.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. Imagine a world without boundaries. Would everyone be doctors and surgeons or actors and athletes? Would life be easy? Would everyone be happy? All of these questions and so many more, the possibilities are endless. However, if you really think about it, we already live in a world without boundaries. Let me explain. A world without boundaries would look like a baby girl given up so that she might have a new start in a better life. It would be the faith and love it takes for her mother to grow up to another family who would give her the world of possibility. A world without boundaries looks like possibility and opportunity. I'm given both of those. I can go anywhere and I can do anything.
All my life, there's been this mantra repeated to me by my dad whenever I became discouraged or whenever I started to believe in myself less. You can do anything you want, my dear. Yes, I'm young and yes, I'm naive, but the one thing that I do have is hope. I have optimism. And I was raised on the belief that I can do anything. As a little 6-year-old tumbling through the air and defying gravity on the uneven bars, I knew no boundaries. Think about it like this. Kids are the most fearless creatures we've ever seen. They don't think twice about how far or how high an obstacle is. All they have is that drive and determination, and really, it's inspiring. So when did we start to learn fear? When did we start to doubt and reconsider and give up? I'll be completely frank, in no way do I have this whole life thing down pat. I struggle with overthinking and worry and doubt and anxiety. I'll ask myself, who am I to think that I can? Who am I to think that I can when others could do so much better? These thoughts of you're good isn't good enough and thinking something more reasonable tumble through my head. In a world without boundaries, these thoughts wouldn't exist. The boundaries I know are the boundaries that I've created for myself. Why can't I dream? In my head, I hear my dad's voice telling me, urging me on, you can do anything you want, my dear. I want that childlike fearlessness to go after my dreams. In a world without boundaries, I wouldn't hold myself back and I wouldn't sabotage myself. In a world without boundaries, I can see myself living so many different lives. I wouldn't be scared to dream big. I mean, after all, isn't that the American dream? How anyone can be anything as long as they work hard enough for it? I recently attended a surgical conference and heard the stories of so many medical students' lives, and all their journeys were unique. I've compromised and I've put my true passions on the back burner because I've made excuses, but they didn't. Life is hard. It's never going to be easy or perfect, not even in a world without boundaries. These hardships aren't just going to go away. However, I've come to realize that these hardships make the results so much more rewarding. A world without boundaries would be a fearless world. There wouldn't be reasons why not, or why we couldn't or shouldn't. We wouldn't blame ourselves or blame others for obstacles in our path. In our world today, I can be anything. I can be a doctor, I can be a surgeon, I can be an actor, and I can be an athlete. It won't be easy, but I don't expect it to be. I am truly unstoppable. From my biological parents to my entire family, my support, and my rock, my story is a story of the faith and love of others who believed in me and showed me that anything is possible. Because of them, I sincerely believe I am boundaries. In a world without boundaries, I think the world would look the same outwardly. The change would come from within. Our collective mindset would change. We wouldn't stop ourselves. Again, my dad's voice, you can do anything you want, my dear. I wouldn't be scared of failing. I wouldn't make excuses of why not or why I couldn't and shouldn't. All of my doubt and anxiety would be quieted. Like my dad reminds me, I can do anything I set my mind to. So, what is this world without boundaries supposed to look like? Well, if you really think about it, we already live in it. Thank you.
All righty, thank you. We will now have the judges tally up the score for that contestant. And while they do so, we'll ask Bobby Russwinkle to talk to us a little bit about the Optimist program. Bobby?
Hi. Thank you all for being here today. So I was asked to speak about one of our programs, and so I'm going to focus on one that we do at the Grand Strand Optimist Club, and it's one of our civic programs. So it's not necessarily a fundraiser, but it's something that we do year after year to give back to the community and the children, and that's our Safety on Wheels program. And so what that program does is that it provides hundreds of bicycle helmets to local youth at no charge. Over the years, we've partnered with local businesses and organizations to make this event possible, and we've seen it grow year after year. So recently, we held the event at a local baseball field, and we had the police department, the fire department, and several businesses partner up for a day of fun. Kids could come out, and the firemen would give them a free bicycle helmet. They could bring their bikes, and the policemen would take them on a bike roads course to talk to them about bicycle safety. We had our local bike shop there, and they would do tests on the bikes to make sure that they were safe. And as the times change, we've extended this beyond safety on wheels to include safety in general. Golf cart safety, car seat safety, home safety. Do you have a hurricane plan? What do you do in an emergency? Who do you call? Online safety, how to prepare for an attack through the internet, how to keep your children safe while they're online. And so we're going to continue to grow with the times and improve this event so that we can not only cater to the children in our community, but to the parents as well, and let them know that we see them and we support them and we want to help them to make this world a better place for their children. So if you'd like more information on this event for your club, or if you'd like to join in with the local business to participate, please let us know. We would love to see this same effort take place all over our state and district. So again, that's our Safety on Wheels event, and it's a safety event to help promote that throughout the homes of the children in our area. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Bobby. All right, I see all our judges have completed. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll now move, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to contestant E.
Hello. Sorry. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, may I continue? Erica. Just imagine a world without boundaries. When the Optimist Club first gave this topic to us students, I was utterly lost. What is even considered a boundary? Is it just a line that we can cross over? I suppose my confusion stemmed from the fact that boundaries can be so different for each one of us. So first, I had to determine my definition of boundaries and what our world would look like without them. Picture a flower. It starts off as a tiny little seed being blown away by the wind. The wind takes it to any random location on Earth. There, it becomes covered by dirt and eventually begins to grow. It shoots upwards, reaches for the sun, and just bursts with color. That flower didn't choose where it would live, grow, or perhaps bring a small child joy with its beauty. That flower can't choose, but we, as humans who have minds, hearts, and free will, can choose who we become, what we do in this world, and the boundaries we overcome. For centuries, our Earth has been infiltrated by pollution. Humanity has dealt with destructive violence, and large groups have faced discrimination. Unfortunately, discrimination still exists in today's society. Gender discrimination, in particular, still occurs in the workplace, and in some countries, girls my age have never even attended a school. For most of the Earth's existence, it has dealt with problems, one of which is the reason we cannot be physically gathered together today. The coronavirus has disrupted and caused pain for so many people in every country across the globe. Although most of us are confined within the boundaries of our own homes, we are united by this pandemic to work together with determination to try and keep everyone safe. Although most of our global boundaries can be quite discouraging, I believe that with hope and with optimism, each one of us can make a positive impact. One of the best parts of life is the people we meet along our journeys. I've always loved listening to other stories and learning about all different cultures of our world. Perhaps whenever we try to listen and learn from others, a boundary is diminished. Only when we truly realize how important each and every person is to this world can we focus on the macrocosm, everyone together as a whole. Every single person's choices massively impacts our global society. For example, the average person produces about 4 pounds of trash a day. So imagine how much trash one person leaves behind in a lifetime. If one person can create that much of a negative impact, one person can also create that much of a positive impact. Heroes such as Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. have all demonstrated the effect of spreading love across the world. They have all shown us how one person can change so many lives if they only choose to do so. Most of our global boundaries have been created by mankind. Therefore, we have a choice for change. Let us unite in making good changes. We cannot just wait for a world without boundaries. We have to create it, and now is our time, the right time, the best time to do so. When we choose to overcome our boundaries, there will be no pollution, no discrimination, and no hate. We can live in a world of kindness, happiness, and peace. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now want to introduce you to a topic that is one of the best of groups of our organization, and that is what's called the Joy Clubs, Junior Optimist International, and Bonnie Jean will tell you a little bit about them.
Thank you, Lonnie. The Junior Optimist International Organization is also referred to as JOI, or JOI, is an active youth organization created in 1988. It is sponsored by Optimist International. JOI members represent the times well by making their communities better, one service project at a time. With more than 15,000 members in more than 500 communities, JOI members are constantly working to promote positive change in their communities. Just like the adult clubs, JOI clubs get to determine how best to serve those communities. They determine the projects, they do the planning, and then they implement those ideas. Also, like the adult Optimist clubs, JOI clubs have elected leadership positions that progress up to the international president at international level. Junior Optimist International president actually sits on the board of directors for Optimist International. So it's a fabulous leadership opportunity and experience for kids beginning to serve as a club president or secretary treasurer, or vice president rather, club secretary, and then move on to possibly a district governor or international president. So I have worked with the JOI Club, and I find it to be very, very rewarding for me personally, and encourage all of you to get engaged with that program. Thank you, Lonnie.
And I tell you, we have a Joy Club down here in Rock Hill, and it is amazing. Right now, we do our meetings by Zoom. Back 10 years ago, when I had back surgery, I was lieutenant governor, and I could not get around and do all the traveling in the evenings that is expected of a lieutenant governor. And so we were the first club to have meetings electronically, and that was by conference call. Our Joy Clubs had been in existence for, I think, 3 or 4 years. They hold 2 meetings a year, face to face. All the others are electronically. So what we are doing, they have been doing for 3 or 4 years. And that was before Zoom. So how they were doing it, I don't know. But they met face-to-face only twice a year, and all the rest they met monthly electronically. It was just amazing. It is my pleasure now to introduce contestant F.
Contestant F, if you will give us a sound and video check, please.
Contestant F, testing audio and video.
Very good, thank you.
Just imagine a world without boundaries. Dictionary.com defines the word boundary as something that indicates bounds or limits, or a limiting or bounding line. As I pondered on the definition, my mind began to think of all the negative aspects of a world with no boundaries, like if there were no age limit for alcohol and tobacco use, or no laws for crimes that were committed. Think about it. Young children will be able to enter the store and purchase alcohol and tobacco products without the requirement of any identification. And we all know the negative effects of continued use of these type of products can have on our bodies. And if there were no laws, there wouldn't be any laws against crimes like speeding or the use of illegal substances. Yet, I soon took control of my thoughts and began to realize all the positive aspects of a world with no boundaries. I contemplated all the unfair boundaries that would soon be abolished. Now, I want you to meditate on that. What about the gender pay gap? According to census.gov, women are still paid less than men by about 25%. On top of that, Black women only make 63 cents for every dollar that the white male makes, as stated by Forbes.com. While headway has been made towards the equality of pay between the sexes, research estimates this gap won't be closed until 2059. While the gender pay gap averages around 19%, that could very well fluctuate from state to state. Take, for instance, in Louisiana, the gender pay gap averages around 31%, while figures in California are much more promising at approximately 11%, with South Carolina coming in at 27%. So, let me paint a picture for you. If said gentleman lives in Louisiana and has an annual salary of $80,000, in comparison, the female salary would only be $52,200, while in California, the female salary would be $71,200, and in South Carolina, $58,400. We need to close this gap across the board. Now, you heard me mention how the Black woman makes much less than the white man, which brings me to another boundary that will soon be abolished, the racial wealth gap. Compared to white males, Hispanic and Black women face the biggest pay gap. A report of the U.S. Census Bureau, Black women earn 33% less, while Hispanic at 42% less. Keep in mind, that's almost half the amount white males make. Half. After observing Economic Policy Institute's research on the racial wealth gap, working in the year 2000, working a full-time job in a full year, the white male made $58,879. And in the year 2017, he can make $60,388. That's a $1,509 increase. But while looking at the Black male's information, in the year 2000, working a full-time job for a full year, he could only make $42,967. And in the year 2017, he can make $42,076. That's an $891 decrease. Yes, decrease. Again, working a full-time job for a full year from the year 2000 to 2017, white women's earnings increased by $3,922. Under the same conditions Black women worked, but only earned a $922 increase. Let me elaborate on what I just stated. Every 4 of those individuals worked equal times, and the 2 African Americans were paid significantly less than the whites. A world with these boundaries abolished would almost be perfect. Everyone would be judged by their ability, not their gender or race. There would be an equal opportunity for all based on their skill set and education. Unfortunately, they're not completely gone yet. We as a whole must continue to make a conscious effort to meet these goals, a world without boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you. And now we'll talk a little bit about the OI Foundation. And that speaker will be John Govern.
That's me,
Ah, there you are.
John Grover. Yes,
Grover,
and I'm a
I'm
member of the
sorry.
Childhood Cancer Optimist Club. That's okay, Lonnie. Yeah, thanks for giving me a chance to talk about the Dime a Day program. Bonnie Jean had talked earlier about the Dime a Day Foundation and the Optimist International Foundation. And what that is that's an arm of Optimist International that raises funds. One of the ways they choose to do it is by encouraging their members to participate in a program called Dime a Day. And that's where each member signs a commitment form and pays $36.50 to the Optimist International Foundation to be used for programs like what you're doing today, kids. And to give you an idea of the types of funds that they spend annually, there are 48 other districts. You're part of the South Carolina district today. There are 48 other districts across this world that are holding these contests. And each of those districts give out $5,000, the 3 scholarships that Bonnie Jean talked about in different amounts. But that's about $250,000 that the Optimist International Foundation gives out. And all of the money that we earn through Dime a Day goes for those scholarships. Now, the nice thing of that is not only does Dime a Day go for that, but it goes for additional scholarships in Oratorical, because you go on to the regional competition and the world competition, and that's another $100,000. So this money that the Optimist International Foundation and Dime a Day uses goes directly back to you. And not only does it go to you as an oratorical contestant, but there are also, we have our Optimist International essay competition, and those 49 districts also give out a $2,500 scholarship each of the winners during the course of the year. And then we have the deaf and hard of hearing program, and for each of those children there is one winner win $2,500. So the money that we ask our members, people like myself and all of our Optimist members here to give the $36.50 in Dime a Day, goes back to you. So what we do is each club has an Optimist International Foundation representative. I am one for our club. And we encourage our members to commit and pledge a Dime a Day. If we did as an international organization, we have about $2 million to give back. I don't know exactly how much of that money comes back from our members, but the nice piece is it all goes to you. So for our members who haven't signed a commitment this year, I encourage you, sign your Dime a Day form. Thank you very much and have a great competition.
Okay, thank you. And you might think that, well, the funds for the regional and international contests, it seems like it's a bit different. But one of the things that those funds also pay for are the winners of the district level clubs will receive funds for 2 to travel round trip to the regional contest and back. Okay. And that we don't know about, that be a little different this year. All right, it's my pleasure to introduce you, Contestant G.
Contestant G, if you will go ahead and test your sound and video.
Testing audio and video.
Very good, thank you.
Just imagine a world without boundaries. We can be set free, like how a dove soars away into the night sky. I like to think of it as going beyond the impossible. Boundaries can be barriers that limit us from doing and being something amazing.
With no boundaries, think of all the possibilities that will make our world a better place. Let's go back in time to the civil rights movement and take a bird's eye view of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. Dr. King didn't let anyone or anything stop him from delivering his message. Therefore, he greatly helped African Americans achieve freedom, so that they wouldn't have to suffer the boundaries that separated the whites and the blacks. To achieve our dreams, we need to tear down these boundaries, like many famous people have done. Rob Mendez is one example. He's a football coach at Prospect High School. He was born with any arms or legs. And a lot of you are probably thinking right now, how can he coach football with no limbs? Having no limbs made Rob Mendez who he is. People rejected him because he has tetraamelia syndrome. According to Earn the Necklace website, his goal was to be head coach, and he patiently waited for someone to recognize his abilities. And that person was Mike Cable. Cable interviewed Mendez, and he believed that Rob was the right fit for head coach. This led to him earning the Jimmy V Award. During these awards, Rob Mendez stated, "Who says I can't? Boundaries didn't stop him." Another overcomer is Bethany Hamilton, who always loved to surf, until her accident when her arm was bit off by a tiger shark. Afterwards, she got discouraged because of her missing limb. However, she overcame these boundaries. And putting myself in her shoes, I would also feel discouraged because she's passionate about surfing. And what happened brought her down to the point where she wanted to give up. The shark accident forced her to face adversity, including trauma, setback, and major disability. Eventually, she got tired of everybody doing things for her, so she decided to learn how to do things on her own. Weebly.com states, she conquered and overcame her adversity through her perseverance and determination, along with her strong will. She used courage, positive attitude, and faith as strong characteristics to overcome these boundaries. She tried again, and before she knew it, she was becoming a champion. Someone else who overcame limitations was Jackie Robinson. He experienced poverty, racism, and unfair threats. During his baseball games, he had to endure a lot of rude, racist comments, and that was enough to make him give up. But you know what? That didn't stop him. His coach came and told him not to worry about what they're saying because you're better than that. Just like that, Jack went back on the field, showed everyone who he was, and led his team to victory. As for me, one of my boundaries is shyness. I also nervous about public speaking, performing, and being watched while doing all of these things. Because I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake. And yet here I am before you, stepping over this fear. Along with knowing mistakes are meant to be made, they show us where we've been and where we're going, along with making us grow and change. Just like Bethany Hamilton, sometimes we need help from our friends and family to overcome these boundaries. My friend Riley always finds a way to make me feel better. Her encouragement helps us stand strong, stronger than I ever thought I would, when she makes me feel optimistic. My sister is my role model. She is always there for me when these boundaries are closing in on me. She's there when I lose a tennis match, messed up so many times from orchestra concerts, or in 5th grade when I was racing in front of my whole school. Sometimes I am terrified, and yet she walks with me this whole way on this bumpy road called life. She shares her optimism that these boundaries won't hinder me. She inspires me to overcome and succeed. In conclusion, when boundaries are in position, we feel we can't do or be something. In my experience, I always think it was going to stop me. So when someone tries to build a wall to keep me hidden, I return to step out, knock down that wall, and accept me for who I am. We should all be who we are, no matter people who throw challenges at us. Be brave, be strong, be you. Be optimistic. Be that dove soaring away with no limits. Thank you.
Thank you. And the judges will now tally their scores. And while they are doing that, we'll ask Roger Sullivan, and you can see he's the guy who's up in Alaska at the Northern Lights there. He'll be talking to us about childhood cancer. Roger?
Thanks. I want to talk to you about a very distinctive part of the Optimist International history. It's the commitment to pushing back the boundaries of medical science and suffering from childhood cancer. You may know childhood cancer is the #1 disease killer of children. It claims another 16,000 cases every year in this country. Here in this state of South Carolina, over 200 children are diagnosed each year. They join about 3,000 children who are already in treatment, in remission, or in survivorship. Nationwide, 1 out of 5 children do not survive. And the single distinctive difference that determines the fate of children having a greater or lesser risk against cancer are 2 simple factors: living in a rural location that puts them distant from treatment, and the resources of their family to get them to that treatment. In South Carolina, and the other older people that you know can go to 100 places for treatment. Children can go to 3. They can go to Charleston, they can go to Greenville, they can go to Columbia. That's it. So Optimist International at the turn of the century in its national convention made a commitment to help childhood cancer research. And they committed a couple of $1 million to that purpose. And that's a pretty significant sum of money. Locally, people came back to a local club right here in Spartanburg and said, yeah, that's wonderful. What can we do right here that will make a difference? Very quickly, they discovered what I just told you, that distance to treatment is a very difficult problem. And the resources to get a child to treatment, which may extend over 18, 24, 30 months of time, many, many trips for care, will be the factor. So very quickly, they discovered that they could be helpful just by giving families the resources with which to get their children to treatment. And they did this for about 14 years, helped about 100 families in just one county, and were discovered by a distant philanthropic couple who challenged them to grow. And that is what they have done. That organization that they started, it started out to be called the Children's Security Blanket, has grown to now serving the entire 2 states and serving almost 1,200 children. So this is a very distinctive part of Optimist International, and I wanted you to know a little bit about it. I also want to tell you that you can take this to your school in a program called Kids in Lids, a thing you can do that allows you and your classmates to help someone who may be missing from school this year and needs your help. So visit the website of our Childhood Cancer Optimist Club. We do this thing that's going on here today. We're a virtual club. We meet by Zoom once a month for 30 minutes because our meetings aren't the important part. It's what we do for kids in the community. So I'll stop at that point and turn back because I know there's a schedule to keep.
All right. Well, thank you, Arthur. Our judges are ready, and it's my pleasure to introduce you contestant H.
Contestant H, if you will give us a sound and video check, please.
Contestant H, testing audio and video.
Very good, thank you.
Just imagine a world without boundaries. A boundary is defined as a line that marks the limit of an area. So essentially, when imagining a world without boundaries, we are imagining a world in which there are no limits. Anything would be possible. For instance, we as humans can place boundaries on ourselves, limiting what we can accomplish. We can place boundaries on our future by telling ourselves what we can and cannot achieve based on our present situations. For a moment, imagine if these boundaries were non-existent. As the inspirational writer William Arthur Ward once said, quote, if you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can become it, end quote. In order for us to truly live a life in which we are not constrained by boundaries hindering our growth, we must learn to do 3 things. Stop placing limits on ourselves. See ourselves for what we want to be instead of what we currently are, and put action behind the goals that we wish to achieve. One of my favorite quotes comes from the poem, Our Deepest Fear by Marianne Williamson. Quote, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us, end quote. She later goes on to say in the poem, quote, your playing small does not serve the world, end quote. One of the primary reasons we limit ourselves is fear. A lot of times we choose not to pursue something we desire because we are afraid of what others will think of us. And we question, who are we to try and pursue our goals? This tendency to automatically make ourselves to be inferior or less than is not only hazardous to our self-esteem, but also to our future potential. And in order to fulfill our purposes and reach our full potentials, we cannot allow our minds to limit our thinking and ultimately our progress. In order to free ourselves from boundaries, we must refine our thinking and the way we view our situations. We have to learn to see ourselves for what we want to be and desire to accomplish instead of what we currently are and have the ability to achieve. Because if we can't envision ourselves at our full potential, how are we going to be able to reach it? Throughout my participation in competitive marching band, towards the end of the season, my director would always say the phrase, "This is a mental game now." And for some reason, that quote has stuck with me to this day. And after pondering on it, I realized just what my director meant in saying that. He was trying to say that he had taught us the music, taught us the drill to the show, and equipped us with everything we needed to be successful. And all that needed to happen next was for us to believe that we could succeed despite any obstacles that we were facing. And just like a sport or activity, life is simply a mental game. While at times we may feel like we aren't prepared or under-equipped, if we truly believe we can achieve something and are determined to succeed, there is nothing that can stop us. Finally, after we've removed the limitations we place on ourselves, envision ourselves for who we want to be and not who we currently are, we must put action behind the goals we wish to achieve. While having faith and believing we can accomplish what we set out to do is great and absolutely necessary for success, what is even more crucial is that we put action behind that belief. And this means not being afraid to take risks. Because when it comes to our dreams, we simply cannot afford to play it safe. And while this may seem frightening, we have to recognize that fulfilling our purposes, reaching our full potentials, and achieving our goals is always going to be worth the risk. While it isn't comfortable, even scary to pursue what we set out to accomplish, we must remember that without taking action and stepping out on our faith, we will never get anywhere. While a world without certain boundaries may sound fantastic, it simply isn't realistic. Life will throw many challenges in our path, but ultimately, the only people who can decide if we can overcome them are ourselves. When our minds try to convince us to limit ourselves, we can choose to dismiss those thoughts and tell ourselves that we will not be limited. When we view ourselves for who we are and what we are currently doing, instead of who we want to be and where we are going, it is up to us to write a different narrative and see ourselves the way we desire. Finally, when fear tries to convince us to play it safe on the things that matter most, we must cast it out and be bold and willing to put action behind our desire. Remember, the only boundary that truly confines you is you. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will now allow our judges to tabulate their scores. And we'll move them to the breakout room. And I'll talk to you a little bit about a program that my club has. John spoke to you about the OI Foundation's Diamond Day program. And it's a program to raise money for the foundation. At the Central City Optimist Club in Rock Hill, we have a program that's called $1 More. And it is a program that is tied directly to a Diamond Day program. What we do is we try to encourage our members to take one of two options, or to select one of two options. One is the Diamond Day, in which they will raise $36.50 in the previous years, but since this is leap year, we'll raise $36.60. Or they can contribute $1 more a month. And that $1 more a month program works by donating $1 for the numerical month of the year starting in January and concluding in September. So the first month in January, they will donate $1. February, they will donate $2. March, they'll donate $3, and so forth. And we recognize them at the end of the year. All members of the all members who have donated $36.50 or more will receive a pin from Optimist International for $10 a day. I don't have that because it would probably be a little difficult to show it to you here. And all those who donate $45 for $1 more a month will receive a gift that was suggested to us by our governor. Is a little pig. So you can see that there. It says, I gave $1 more a month in 2019, and it has the person's name on it. This year, our club had 18 members who qualified for $10 a day. Now, for the sake of full transparency, not all of them did that. If there was a member who was $5 or less short of the $36.50, then we would have members who paid more than that who would contribute to their funds to bring them up. We had 4 members that were elevated to $10 a day contributors as a result of that. Now, they were told that we carried them this year, but we expect them to carry themselves next year. And we'll see. So if they don't raise the entire $36.60, then they will not receive a pin. For those who contribute $1 more a month, we say contribute $1 more or the $45 for the year, or more if you like. And for those who, and we do have a number of people who contribute more than $45. Some contribute a couple dollars over, some contribute 10 or 15 or even $20 over. We have a number of members who pay the $45 in January. And as a matter of fact, we already have one member who has paid $50, so he's $5 over, and another member who has paid $100. The person who donates the most to the foundation will receive a pig like this. But instead of saying just I gave $1 more a month, it will say Boss Hog, and it will be a little larger. So we have been able to get our club really involved in the foundation giving by doing this. We initially started with the $10 a day, and for some reason it really didn't gain traction. When we made it up something a little different, and then also we made it so that it's similar to church. We provide everybody with an envelope that they just write their name and a number on it, and then they pass it in. We pass them out to them when they come in, and they pass them on their way out. So with that, thank you for your time. I will now go and join the judges in their room and get the tabulation, and we'll come back out, introduce you to our speakers, as well as the judges, and announce the winners.
Thank you, Roger. And it looks like we're bringing our judges back. So I appreciate you giving us that additional information about the Kids in Lids program. So the breakout rooms for the judges are closing. They'll be back in about 30 seconds. And I will go ahead and mute all.
Okay.
And unmute Lonnie.
All righty. And as soon as our judges come, I will introduce our contestants. I will give you your name and what club they represent. And when I give their name, I would like for them to tell us what schools they attend and what grade they will be entering in August. I think it's August. I think it's August when schools are open now. I'm not sure. I don't have kids in it anymore, but I don't know if it's been moved or not. And then I will introduce our judges to you, and we'll tell you who our winners are. Okay, The first is the young lady that you knew as contestant A. She's Eileen Carter and represents the Grand Strand Club. Eileen, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm 15 years old and I'm going into the 10th grade and I attend Waccamaw High School.
All right.
I'm grateful to be here. Thank you for having me.
All righty, thank you. The other young lady that you knew as contestant B is Alexandria Andrews, and she represents Central City Optimist Club. Alexandria, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm gonna correct you. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's Alexandra Aratis.
I'm sorry.
My name, so I just wanted to correct that. I'm 16, and I actually was recently accepted into the Governor's School of Arts and Humanities in Greenville. So I'll be moving there in August, and that's where I'll be going. So.
Okay. And I'm sorry for as many times I've introduced you, I should have it right by now. The person that you knew as contestant C is Tanner Richardson, representing the Grand Strand Club. Tanner, tell us about yourself.
My name is Tanner Richardson. I'm 14 years old. I'm going to North Myrtle Beach High School, and I'll be entering into the 9th grade.
Okay, thank you. The person you knew as contestant D is Anna Cadell, representing the Palmetto Club, Bonnie's Club.
Hi, my name is Anna Cadell, and I will be a senior at the Governor's School for Science and Math.
Okay. And going to 12th grade, right? Okay. Okay, the person that you knew as candidate E is Aaron McGuire, representing Childhood Cancer Club. Aaron, tell us about you.
I'm in 7th grade at St. Andrews, and I'm going into 8th. Well, I'm going into 8th grade. Sorry. And thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And how old are you, Aaron?
I'm 13.
13. All righty. Very good. The person that you knew as contestant F is Kennedy Williams, representing the Fort Mill Club.
Hi, I'm Kennedy Williams. I'm 14 and I'll be attending Nation Ford High School in 9th grade.
Okay, thank you. The young lady you knew as contestant G is Alexandra Beltran, representing the North Strand Club.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I'll be going into 8th grade and I attend North Myrtle Beach Middle School.
And you are how old?
13.
13. Thank you. And last but not least, the candidate that you knew as contestant H is Samuel Grant from the Hope Optimist Club. Samuel?
Hi, my name is Samuel Grant. I'm a rising senior, so 12th grade at Spring Valley High School in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay, and you're how old?
16.
16, thank you. All right, we have a final tally, which I'm sure that you're just dying to know, and I'm dying to tell you, but first let me introduce you to our esteemed panel of judges. Even got me nervous. Our first judge was Jennifer Rossi, a first lieutenant with the U.S. Air Force, NICU, which she can explain to us, NICU nurse in San Antonio, Texas. Where is she?
Hi there, sorry about that, I was muted. I am a first lieutenant in the Air Force Nursing Corps, and I'm a neonatal ICU nurse. So I take care of the cute little sick babies.
Oh, okay.
I'm out here in San Antonio, Texas.
All righty, thank you. The next is Krista Norrie, in administrative education in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Yes, hi, I'm Kristen Norai, and I am serving right now as a behavior specialist for New Hanover Schools in Wilmington, North Carolina. But I have also been a general ed and special ed teacher for over 20 years.
Wave your hand, I don't see you. Oh, there you are. You've been moved. Now, next, we have Teresa Vincent, Chief District Court Judge in Guilford for Guilford County, North Carolina. Teresa, all rise.
Or mute.
There you go.
Hi, everyone. My name is Teresa Vincent. I am Chief District Court Judge here in Guilford County. It is my pleasure to be with you this afternoon.
And for those who don't know Guilford County, that is in the Greensboro area. Next, we have Dr. Corrine Montre Moffitt from Cincinnati, hot off her speaking engagement at the Black Lives Matter program in Cincinnati.
Yes, I did. Hi, everyone. Hi, I am.
Oh, there you are.
There I am. I'm Dr. Kareem. I am here in Cincinnati, very excited to have seen all of your presentations. I currently teach math at a local community college here, and I work with young people in the Cincinnati public schools on conflict resolution. So I'm super excited. Congratulations to all of you.
Thank you. Our next is the scorekeeper, final judge, is Cynthia Willis, and she's a retired manager at Con Ed of Chicago. Now is the youngest retiree in her neighborhood.
I don't know about that. Hi, I'm Cynthia Harvey Willis. As Lonnie mentioned, I recently retired from ComEd, which is a utility company in Chicago, Illinois. So I've recently relocated to Griffin, Georgia for the past couple of years and enjoying my life. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. You guys all did a really great job, and I'm very excited for you. Thank you.
And a cancer survivor.
Yes. Conqueror.
All right. And then we have Tom Montgomery from the Palmetto Club, who was our timekeeper.
Greetings all. This is the third year I've done this, and I'm just absolutely amazed at the thoughts and how well each of the contestants speak. Every year, it's absolutely incredible to me how well spoken you all are. Thank you.
All righty. And now for what you've been waiting for. It is my pleasure to announce the third place winner, contestant A, Eileen Carter. There you go. Wave your hands, Eileen. There you go. All righty. In second place is contestant E, Aaron McGuire. There you go. Raise your hand. Where's Aaron? Oh, okay. No, that wasn't her. Where's Aaron? Oh, there you are up top. Okay. And the first place winner is contestant H, Samuel Grant. Now, Eileen wins a scholarship for $1,000. Aaron wins a scholarship for $1,500, and Samuel will win a scholarship for $2,500 and will move on to the regional round, which Bonnie is held when?
The regional and international competition will be held via Zoom on July 16th. And so the student will be contacted by Optimist International for that, for the details for that contest.
Okay. All righty. So great job by everyone. And best of luck to everyone as they move on. With that, I'll turn it over to our governor for closing remarks.
So once again, thank you so much for all these students for participating today, and you were all exceptional. Thank you to our judges for volunteering your time and giving of yourselves in this way to help and encourage these students' journey. I do appreciate your time. And congratulations to Samuel, Aaron, and Eileen, and look forward to seeing you, Samuel, at the regional competition. So I would like to, at this time, ask for our governor-elect, Lola Cumbo. I'm going to unmute you. If you would close this meeting with the Optimist Creed. And I thank you all for your time, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. So Lola.
Okay, the Optimist Creed. Promise yourself to be so strong that nothing can disturb your peace of mind, to talk health, happiness, and prosperity to every person you meet, to make all of your friends feel that there is something in them, to look at the sunny side of everything and make your optimism come true, to think only of the best, to work only for the best, and to expect only the best, to be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as you are about your own, to forget the mistakes of the past and press on to the greater achievements of the future, to wear a cheerful countenance at all times and give every living creature you meet a smile, to give so much time to the improvement of yourselves that you have no time to criticize others, to be too large for worry, too noble for anger, too strong for fear, and too happy to permit the presence of trouble. Congratulations.
Thank you, Lola. If you would our first, second, and third place winners please remain on the line, and I'll ask everyone, I'll say goodbye to everyone else, and thank you for your time. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.